Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. Today we're diving into the world of healthcare, but with a digital twist.
Oh, I like the sound of that already.
Right. So we're going to be talking about the Clinical Informatics Manager role.
Okay.
And it's not just another IT job. It's really about, using tech to actually make a difference in healthcare.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about this role. It seems like it's becoming more and more important.
Absolutely. And we've got some awesome resources from RoleCatcher to help us break it all down, career guides, even some cool insights into their AI interview prep tools, which we'll get into later.
Sounds good.
But first, what does a clinical informatics manager do?
Yeah, let's start there.
So picture this. You've got your clinical pros, doctors, nurses, the people who are like masters of patient care. Then you've got the tech wizards, right? Living in the world of ones and zeros. The clinical informatics manager is the bridge.
Good bridge, okay.
They make sure those electronic health records, those EHR systems are running smoothly.
Yeah.
But they're also always looking for ways to use tech to make healthcare better.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I feel like a lot of people don't realize how much technology is involved in healthcare these days.
It's huge.
And it's only going to become more so in the future, right? Like, this isn't just some trendy title.
Right.
This position is in such high demand because of the massive digital shift happening in healthcare.
Exactly.
Everything's moving to digital platforms, from patient records to medical imaging. I mean, you name it.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
So hospitals really need people who understand both the clinical side and the tech landscape.
They need that translator, that problem solver.
Exactly. And that's where the clinical informatics manager comes in. They ensure that technology is actually translating into real improvements in patient care.
So it's like taking all the cool stuff technology can do and making sure it's actually useful in a hospital setting. I was reading about AI-assisted diagnostics. It's amazing. Yeah. Radiologists are using algorithms now to help analyze images and detect things that maybe a human eye could miss.
Yeah.
And that speeds up diagnosis, it improves accuracy, and ultimately leads to more effective treatment. That's amazing to me.
And that's the kind of impact clinical informatics managers can have.
That's incredible. So as you can imagine, it's a pretty in-demand field, right?
Oh, absolutely.
What kind of salary are we talking about?
So typically you're looking at a range between $90,000 and $120,000 per year.
Wow.
But it's more than just the money. You need a really unique set of skills for this role. Obviously, you need the tech proficiency.
Of course.
But you also need to understand how hospitals and clinics actually operate.
Right, right.
And being able to communicate effectively with doctors, nurses, administrators, that's essential. And strong leadership skills are really important too.
So we're not just talking about managing systems here. We're talking about leading the charge in how technology shapes the future of healthcare. And it seems like the career path often follows a pretty clear progression, according to the RoleCatcher guides.
Yeah, you often start as a specialist, then move up to analyst, then coordinator, and eventually to a manager role.
So each step up comes with more responsibility.
Yeah, but also more opportunity to make a bigger impact.
One thing that stood out to me was the emphasis on continuous learning. It's not enough to have the skills today. You need to stay ahead of the curve.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in such a fast-moving field, right?
Absolutely. Getting certified is a big deal. Like the Certified Professional in Healthcare Information and Management Systems, that's CPHEM, it can really boost your credibility.
Okay.
And there are others too, like the Chair ESP and CPEHR. And, RoleCatcher, they actually provide tools to help you prepare for those interviews, which can be intimidating.
Yeah, those certifications are no joke. Having a little help with those interviews can make all the difference. But it's not just about acing the interview, right? What really struck me from the RoleCatcher guides was how important the soft skills are in this role. It's not just about the tech.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can be a tech genius, but if you can't talk to a doctor who's already crazy busy, or if you can't work with a team of nurses who are used to doing things a certain way, that technology is not going to get very far.
Right. It's about understanding the human side of healthcare as much as the technical side.
Exactly. Think about it like this when you're trying to implement a new system for tracking medication dosages on a busy hospital ward.
Okay.
You need to be able to explain the system to the nurses, address their concerns, make sure the transition goes smoothly without disrupting patient care.
Oh, for sure.
That takes empathy, good communication skills. You got to be a problem solver.
It's really easy to get caught up in all the technical stuff, but ultimately it's about using that technology to get better outcomes for patients.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's where data analytics is huge.
Okay, how so?
Clinical informatics managers use data to answer really important questions. Are we reducing medication errors? Are patients being discharged sooner? Are readmission rates going down?
Wow.
By analyzing that data, you can see where things can be improved, you can measure how effective new technologies are, and ultimately, you're improving the quality of care patients receive.
It's literally, like you said, using data to save lives.
In many ways, yes. A good example is sepsis.
Oh, right. Very serious.
It's life-threatening and
Ugh.
often requires really fast diagnosis and treatment. Some hospitals are using AI algorithms now.
Wow, really?
These algorithms analyze patient data in real time and flag anyone who's high risk for sepsis.
So they can intervene quicker.
Exactly, and that early intervention can save lives.
That's amazing. It's like having an extra set of eyes constantly watching out for potential problems.
Exactly, and as technology gets even more advanced, the potential for clinical informatics managers to have an even bigger impact just keeps growing.
Speaking of evolving technology, the RoleCatcher guide mentioned AI and machine learning.
Right.
I feel like those are the buzzwords everywhere these days, but how are they actually changing things for clinical informatics managers specifically?
It really is an exciting frontier. We're talking about algorithms that can look at huge amounts of patient data to predict risks, personalize treatment plans,
Wow.
even assist with surgery.
It's like sci-fi becoming reality.
Right. Imagine AI helping doctors make faster, more accurate diagnoses. Or chatbots that can answer basic patient questions.
Oh, that would free up so much time for nurses.
Exactly. But it's not all smooth sailing. There are some big questions to consider.
Like what kind of questions?
Well, like, what does this mean for the human element in healthcare?
That's a good point.
As we bring in these powerful technologies, it's not just about, like, making them work. It's also about making sure they're used ethically, responsibly.
Yeah, for sure.
How do we balance the potential of AI with things like patient privacy and, that human touch, which is so important in healthcare?
Those are some big questions. And I imagine they're only going to get tougher as technology keeps advancing.
Exactly. But that's what makes this field so interesting, so engaging. It's not just about the latest tech. It's about shaping how that tech is used to help people to actually improve lives.
So for someone listening who's thinking, hey, this sounds like me, what's the key takeaway? What does it really mean to be a clinical informatics manager today?
It's about being at the forefront of this revolution in healthcare. It's about connecting data with compassion, technology with that human touch.
I like that.
It's about taking your skills, whether they're from a clinical background, tech background, or whatever, and using them to make a real difference for patients.
It's not just about managing data. It's about advocating for better care through technology.
Absolutely.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, if you want to explore this path further, RoleCatcher is an amazing resource. They've got career guides, AI-powered interview prep, all sorts of tools to give you the knowledge and confidence to take that next step.
I'd second that.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I'm really excited about the future of this field. It's so inspiring to know there are people out there like you who are passionate about using technology to make healthcare better.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure talking about this with you and your listeners.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time for another fascinating look at the world of work. Until then, stay curious.